Most people won't tell you they dislike you. They won't insult you to your face. They won't openly reject you. They won't admit they're jealous, resentful, or quietly rooting against you. Instead, they'll smile when they see you. They'll laugh at your jokes. They'll congratulate your success. They'll even call you friend. But beneath that smile is something much darker, because the most dangerous enemies are never the loud ones. They're the people who pretend to support you while secretly hoping you fail. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that we suffer more from our judgments than from reality. The problem is that many of us judge people by their words instead of their patterns. We listen to what they say while ignoring what they repeatedly do. That's exactly why so many people end up betrayed. Not because the warning signs weren't there, but because they chose not to see them. The truth is, people rarely reveal hatred through obvious actions. They reveal it through tiny behaviors repeated over time. Small moments, quiet gestures, subtle patterns that most people dismiss. Today, we're exposing those patterns. By the end of this video, you'll never look at certain people the same way again. You may even realize that someone you've trusted for years has been showing these signs all along. And if that's the case, don't be discouraged. Be grateful. Because seeing the truth is always better than living comfortably inside an illusion. Let's begin. The first sign is that they constantly joke about your flaws. Humor is one of the greatest gifts we have. It brings people together. It eases tension. It creates unforgettable memories. But humor also has a darker side. Sometimes a joke isn't a joke at all. Sometimes it's the safest way for someone to tell you exactly how they feel. Think about that one person who never misses an opportunity to make you the punchline. Maybe they tease your appearance. Maybe they mock your mistakes. Maybe they laugh at your dreams. Every conversation somehow circles back to something that's supposedly wrong with you. And the moment you react, they immediately retreat behind the oldest excuse in the world. I'm just kidding. But are they? Ask yourself one simple question. Why do their jokes always seem to target your insecurities instead of your strengths? That's not coincidence. That's intention. Seneca warned us that insults only have power if we choose to accept them. But there's another lesson hidden beneath his words. Wise people don't just ignore insults. They recognize where they come from. A person who constantly disguises disrespect as humor is revealing something about themselves. They're uncomfortable with your confidence, threatened by your growth, or simply unwilling to celebrate your success. Instead of confronting those emotions honestly, they disguise them as entertainment. Because if you laugh, they escape accountability. If you object, they accuse you of being too sensitive. It's a game you can never win, unless you stop playing. Years ago, I met someone who always had something clever to say. Every new haircut became a joke. Every achievement became luck. Every goal became unrealistic. At first, everyone laughed, including me. After all, that's what you're supposed to do. You don't want to be the serious person who ruins the mood. But over time, I noticed something strange. The jokes never stopped. In fact, they became more frequent every time something good happened in my life. When I earned a promotion, there was a joke. When I started improving my health, there was another joke. When people complimented me, they immediately found a way to balance the praise with criticism. It wasn't random. It was predictable. That's when I realized something most people never do. People reveal their true feelings when they think nobody is paying attention. Their words may wear a mask. Their habits never do. Imagine placing a tiny crack in a piece of glass. At first, it's almost invisible. But if someone keeps pressing that same spot every single day, eventually the entire surface shatters. That's exactly how these harmless jokes work. One joke doesn't destroy confidence, neither do two. But hundreds, over months, over years, they slowly become the voice inside your own head. You begin questioning yourself before anyone else has the chance. You become afraid to speak, afraid to try, afraid to fail. Not because you're weak, but because someone quietly trained your mind to expect ridicule before support. That's why this behavior is so dangerous. It's psychological erosion. And the worst part? Many people mistake it for friendship. Real friends laugh with you. Fake friends laugh at you. There's a world of difference. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself every morning that other people would be selfish, arrogant, deceitful, and envious. Not so he could become cynical, but so he wouldn't be surprised when he encountered those traits. Preparation protects peace. When someone repeatedly disguises insults as humor, don't rush to confront them. Observe them. Patterns never lie. Notice whether they celebrate your victories with the same enthusiasm they celebrate your mistakes. Notice whether they can laugh at themselves as easily as they laugh at you. Notice whether their jokes disappear when important people are watching, because people often reveal their true character only when they believe there will be no consequences. Here's something that may surprise you. Confident people rarely need to tear others down. They're too busy building themselves. The people who constantly search for flaws are usually trying to distract attention from their own. Insecurity has an interesting habit. It criticizes what it secretly envies. That doesn't mean every joke is malicious. Some friendships thrive on playful teasing. The difference is simple. Healthy teasing leaves you feeling loved. Toxic teasing leaves you feeling smaller. One strengthens connection. The other slowly destroys it. And here's the Stoic response. Don't become angry. Don't become defensive. Don't try to out-insult them. Simply stop rewarding the behavior. Silence is powerful. Boundaries are powerful. Distance is powerful. The moment someone realizes you no longer react, they lose one of their favorite sources of entertainment. More importantly, you stop allowing someone else's opinion to become your identity. Remember this, respect is rarely lost all at once. It's surrendered one tolerated insult at a time. Protect your self-respect before you protect someone's comfort, because the people who genuinely value you will never need to make you feel small in order to feel big themselves. And what comes next is even more subtle. Some people won't insult you directly. Instead, they'll compliment you. But somehow, you'll leave the conversation feeling worse than when it started. That's where the second sign begins. They say the most dangerous insult isn't the one that attacks you openly. It's the one wrapped inside praise. Because an obvious enemy is easy to recognize. A hidden one is far more difficult. The second sign someone secretly dislikes you is that their compliments always feel like insults. Have you ever walked away from a conversation wondering why you suddenly felt insecure? The person smiled. They congratulated you. They even said something nice. Yet somehow, instead of feeling encouraged, you felt diminished. That's because not every compliment is meant to build you up. Some are carefully designed to remind you where they think you belong. Maybe you've heard something like, "Wow, I honestly didn't think you'd pull that off. You actually look really good today. I didn't expect someone like you to become this successful. You've gotten a lot more confident lately." Listen carefully. None of those statements are pure compliments. Each one contains an invisible insult. Each one quietly suggests that your success is unusual, that your appearance is surprising, that your intelligence is unexpected. Instead of celebrating who you've become, they're reminding you of who they believe you used to be. And that's no accident. Epictetus taught that we cannot control what others say, but we can control how we interpret it. The Stoic doesn't hear only the words, he studies the intention behind them. Because intention always matters more than vocabulary. Think about people who genuinely admire you. When they compliment you, there's no hidden sting. There's no comparison, no unnecessary qualifier, no subtle attempt to shrink your accomplishment. Their happiness feels authentic because it is. Now compare that to someone who secretly competes with you. Every compliment sounds forced, almost painful, as though praising you costs them something. Because in their mind, your success somehow threatens their own. Jealousy has a strange language. It rarely announces itself directly. Instead, it disguises itself as concern, as humor, as advice, or as compliments that quietly leave scars. I once knew someone who never failed to congratulate me. Every achievement was met with applause, at least on the surface. But every compliment ended with another sentence. "You're doing really well. Just don't let it get to your head. You've been lucky lately. I hope you can keep this up." At first, those comments sounded harmless, responsible even, until I realized something. They never ended anyone else's success with caution, only mine. Whenever someone else accomplished something incredible, they simply celebrated them. But whenever I succeeded, there always seemed to be a warning attached. It wasn't encouragement, it was discomfort. They weren't protecting me from arrogance. They were protecting themselves from comparison. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself never to depend on the praise of others. Why? Because praise is unstable. Some people praise you today and secretly resent you tomorrow. If your confidence depends on their approval, your peace will disappear the moment their attitude changes. That's why Stoicism teaches something radical. Build your identity from within, not from applause, not from criticism, not from compliments, because all three can be manipulated. Here's another pattern you'll begin noticing once you pay attention. People who secretly dislike you often struggle to celebrate your wins without mentioning themselves. You tell them you received a promotion. Instead of saying congratulations, they respond, "That happened to me years ago." You share exciting news. They immediately tell a bigger story about themselves. You reach a milestone. They remind everyone of something they accomplished. The spotlight can never stay on you for long. Why? Because your moment feels like their loss. It's an invisible competition you never agreed to enter. Healthy people celebrate your growth. Unhealthy people measure themselves against it. And when they feel they're losing, they begin disguising resentment as politeness. This is why emotional intelligence matters. Not because it helps you manipulate people, but because it helps you recognize them. Observe how someone reacts when life finally goes your way. Do their eyes brighten? Or do they immediately search for flaws? Do they ask genuine questions? Or do they quickly change the subject? Do they celebrate? Or do they minimize? Your victories reveal far more about other people than your failures ever will. Failure attracts sympathy. Success exposes character. That's why you'll often discover who truly supports you only after something wonderful happens. It's easy to comfort someone who's struggling. It's much harder to sincerely celebrate someone who's rising. Because celebration requires humility. Jealousy cannot celebrate. It can only compare. There's another version of this hidden insult that many people overlook. Sometimes the compliment isn't directed at you at all. It's directed at someone standing beside you. Imagine you're in a group. Someone compliments everyone except you. Or they praise your work while ignoring your contribution. Or they repeatedly admire others for qualities you clearly possess. Again, it's subtle, almost impossible to prove. But repeated often enough, it becomes impossible to ignore. Their silence becomes louder than words. The Stoics believe that reality always reveals itself through consistency. One awkward compliment means nothing. 20 identical patterns mean everything. Don't judge isolated moments. Judge repeated behavior. That's where truth lives. Here's the mistake many people make. They begin chasing approval, working harder, trying to impress, trying to earn respect from someone who already decided not to give it. But approval earned from resentment never lasts. Because the goalposts keep moving. No matter what you accomplish, there will always be another condition, another criticism, another invisible standard. You'll spend your entire life trying to fill a cup with a hole in the bottom. Instead, accept something liberating. Not everyone is supposed to celebrate your success. Some people benefit more from your insecurity than your confidence. And that's okay. Their inability to appreciate you is not evidence that you're lacking. It's evidence that their perspective is limited. When someone offers a compliment wrapped in poison, don't absorb both. Take the compliment, leave the poison, smile, thank them, move forward. Nothing frustrates insecure people more than someone who refuses to carry the weight they tried to hand them. Remember this: your value doesn't increase because someone finally notices it, and it doesn't decrease because someone refuses to acknowledge it. A diamond remains a diamond, whether it's admired, ignored, or buried beneath the earth. The people who truly respect you won't need to disguise kindness. Their words will leave you stronger than they found you. Everyone else eventually reveals themselves. And the third sign is perhaps one of the most painful, because it doesn't involve words at all. It involves silence, the silence of being left behind. Being excluded hurts in a way that few things do. Not because you missed the dinner, not because you weren't invited to the party, but because exclusion quietly whispers a message that nobody wants to hear. You weren't even considered. The third sign someone secretly dislikes you is that they repeatedly leave you out on purpose. Notice I didn't say accidentally. Everyone forgets things. Everyone gets busy. Everyone misses an invitation once in a while. But patterns tell the truth. If you're constantly the last person to know, if everyone else somehow heard about the plan except you, if you always discover gatherings through photos instead of invitations, you're not witnessing coincidence. You're witnessing a decision. Marcus Aurelius wrote that we should judge people by their actions rather than their promises. This is one of those moments. People don't reveal your importance by what they tell you. They reveal it by where they place you. Think about someone you genuinely enjoy spending time with. When something exciting comes up, what's your first instinct? You think of them. You send them a message. You ask if they're available, because people naturally make room for those they value. Inclusion requires intention. So does exclusion. Years ago, I had a group of friends I believed would always be around. We laughed together, worked together, shared meals together. Everything appeared normal. Until one weekend I opened social media. There they were, all together, smiling, laughing, celebrating. Every single person was there, except me. Naturally, I assumed it was an honest mistake, so I mentioned it casually. "Oh, that looked fun." The answers came immediately. "We thought you were busy. It happened at the last minute. We forgot." Once. I believed them. Twice. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. By the fifth time, the truth became impossible to ignore. Because real mistakes happen once. Patterns happen on purpose. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that not everyone who enjoys your company actually values your presence. Some people like having access to you. Very different. They'll call when they need advice. They'll ask for favors. They'll seek your help. But when joy is involved, when celebration is involved, when there are limited seats at the table, your name somehow disappears. That isn't friendship. That's convenience. Seneca once observed that prosperity reveals friends while adversity tests them. But there's another truth people rarely discuss. Success also exposes hidden resentment. Sometimes people exclude you because your growth makes them uncomfortable. You've changed. You've become more confident, more disciplined, more successful. Instead of being inspired, they feel threatened. Rather than admitting it, they quietly begin creating distance. Not through confrontation, through omission. You simply stop receiving invitations. You stop hearing updates. You slowly become invisible. It's one of the most passive forms of rejection. And because nobody actually says anything, you begin questioning yourself. Maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe they really forgot. Maybe next time. That hope keeps people trapped for years. The Stoics warned against confusing hope with evidence. Evidence matters. If someone consistently values you, you won't have to guess. You'll know, because effort is visible. People make time for what matters. People make room for who matters. Everything else is an excuse. Now, let's be fair. Not every gathering requires an invitation. No one is entitled to every social event. Stoicism teaches personal responsibility, not entitlement. The issue isn't missing one event. The issue is repeated exclusion from people who continue calling themselves your friends. There's a difference. Imagine watering a plant every single day except one. It survives. Now imagine ignoring it for 6 months. That's no longer neglect. That's abandonment. Relationships work the same way. Connection grows through consistent inclusion. Distance grows through consistent absence. Here's another sign many people overlook. Notice how quickly they organize things with others. Someone mentions grabbing coffee. Plans are made immediately. Someone suggests a weekend trip. Everyone joins the conversation. Then you suggest something. Suddenly, silence. "We'll see maybe. We'll let you know." They never do. The enthusiasm changes depending on who's speaking. That tells you everything. People reveal priorities through energy, not words, not promises, energy. Watch how excited they become for everyone else's ideas, then compare it with yours. You may discover you've been tolerated rather than welcomed. That's painful, but it's also freeing, because once you stop begging for a seat at someone else's table, you begin building your own. Epictetus taught that no one can rob us of our peace without our permission. That includes social rejection. Being excluded says something about them, not about your worth. Never confuse access with value. Some of the greatest people in history spent seasons standing completely alone, not because they lacked value, because they refused to shrink themselves to fit inside rooms that had already outgrown honesty. Here's something remarkable. When you stop chasing invitations, the right people often find you. Not because you've become different, because you've stopped wasting energy convincing the wrong people to appreciate you. Confidence is attractive. Desperation is exhausting. The people who belong in your life won't make you earn basic respect. They won't repeatedly leave you wondering where you stand. They'll make it obvious. And if someone keeps showing you that you're optional, believe them, not with bitterness, with clarity, because clarity protects your peace. Always remember this. You should never have to audition for a place in the lives of people who claim to care about you. The relationships worth keeping are the ones where your presence is appreciated, not merely tolerated. And the fourth sign may be the easiest to recognize once you stop making excuses for people. Some people are always busy, but somehow, they're only busy when it comes to you. The fourth sign someone secretly dislikes you is that they're always busy, but only when it comes to you. We've all heard the phrase, "I'm just really busy right now." On the surface, it's a perfectly reasonable explanation. Life gets hectic. People have responsibilities. Careers become demanding. Families require attention. No one is available all the time. The problem isn't that someone is busy. The problem is when they're consistently busy only for you. Pay attention to the pattern. You ask if they're free this weekend. Sorry, maybe next time. You suggest grabbing coffee. This week's crazy. You invite them to an event. I'll let you know. Then you open social media. They're out having dinner, traveling, watching a game, celebrating birthdays, meeting people, laughing, living life. Suddenly, their schedule wasn't the problem. You were. That realization stings. Not because they owe you their time, but because they weren't honest enough to tell you where you truly stood. Marcus Aurelius believed that truth is always kinder than deception. A painful truth can heal. A comfortable lie only delays the wound. Many people don't know how to say, "I don't value this relationship anymore." So instead, they hide behind endless excuses. Busy becomes their shield. Because I'm busy sounds far kinder than, "I simply don't want to spend time with you." Years ago, there was someone I considered one of my closest friends. Whenever I reached out, the answer was always the same. "Work has been insane. Things are hectic. Maybe next month." I believed every word. Why wouldn't I? Life gets busy. Then one afternoon, completely by accident, I saw them sitting in a cafe. Not alone, not working, laughing with 3 other friends. People they somehow had time for. I wasn't angry. I was awake. That moment taught me something I wish I'd learned years earlier. People don't prioritize time. They prioritize people. Time simply follows. Think about the people you truly love. Even during your busiest season, you find 5 minutes to send a message. You make a quick phone call. You check in. Not because your schedule suddenly became easier, because they matter. That's what priorities look like. Seneca once wrote that while we waste much of our lives, we always claim we have too little time. The irony is that everyone has the same 24 hours. What changes is where those hours go. When someone consistently invests them everywhere except your relationship, believe the investment, not the explanation. Here's another subtle sign. Notice how long they take to respond. Again, everyone gets busy. Not every message deserves an instant reply. But observe the difference. Your message sits unopened for 3 days. Yet somehow they're posting stories every few hours, commenting on other people's photos, sharing memes, replying to everyone else. It's not about the phone, it's about motivation. People rarely ignore what they're excited to see. The Stoics often reminded themselves not to expect from others what they had never promised. That's wise. But there's another lesson here. You should never repeatedly explain away behavior that keeps hurting you. At some point, acceptance becomes self-deception. We become incredibly creative when protecting relationships we don't want to lose. They're just stressed. They've got a lot going on. They didn't mean it, maybe. Or maybe you've simply become less important to them than you once were. Both possibilities exist. Only one is supported by repeated evidence. Here's what many people do next. They try harder. They send more messages, initiate more conversations, become more available, give more, offer more, hope more. They believe that if they become valuable enough, attentive enough, generous enough, things will return to how they used to be. But relationships don't become healthier because one person carries all the weight. Imagine rowing a boat with only one oar. No matter how hard you work, you'll keep going in circles. That's exactly what one-sided relationships feel like. Exhausting. Not because you're doing too little, because you're doing it for 2 people. Epictetus taught that attachment to things outside our control creates suffering. Someone else's willingness to make time for you is outside your control. Your response to that reality isn't. That's where freedom begins. Not by forcing people to choose you, but by choosing yourself enough to stop chasing those who've already made their decision. Here's something I've noticed over the years. The strongest people don't beg for attention. They don't compete for invitations. They don't repeatedly convince others to care. They quietly redirect their energy toward people who naturally reciprocate. That's not pride, that's wisdom. There is incredible peace in realizing that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people were assigned to one chapter of your life, not the entire book. Trying to force them into every chapter only ruins the story. And here's something that often surprises people. The moment you stop chasing, some of those same people suddenly become interested again. Why? Because your absence exposes the value they took for granted. But be careful. Attention isn't always appreciation. Sometimes people miss access, not you. There's a difference. If someone only reaches out when they need advice, need a favor, need encouragement, need your resources, yet disappears the moment you need them, That isn't friendship. It's convenience wearing the mask of connection. Never confuse being useful with being valued. One earns requests, the other earns respect. Marcus Aurelius said that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Think constantly about rejection, and you'll begin feeling rejected everywhere. Think constantly about your purpose, and you'll stop measuring your worth by someone else's calendar. The happiest people aren't those invited everywhere. They're the ones who know exactly where they belong. Remember this: you should never have to convince someone that spending time with you is worthwhile. The right people won't make you feel like an appointment they keep postponing. They'll make you feel like someone they're genuinely happy to see, because attention is given, time is made, and priority is never accidental. Now, the fifth sign doesn't require a single word. In fact, it often appears long before anyone speaks, because the body has a strange habit of revealing what the mouth tries to hide. The fifth sign someone secretly dislikes you is that their body language gives them away. Words can be rehearsed, smiles can be faked, compliments can be manufactured, but the body is honest. Long before someone admits how they feel, their posture, facial expressions, and subtle reactions often reveal the truth. That's because emotions leak. Psychologists call them micro-expressions, tiny, involuntary reactions that appear before a person has time to control them. The Stoics didn't have a name for them, but they understood the principle. Marcus Aurelius advised us to observe people carefully, not merely listen to them. Actions, expressions, and habits reveal character far more accurately than speeches ever could. Think about the last time someone genuinely enjoyed seeing you. Their face lit up, their posture relaxed, their eyes widened, they naturally leaned toward you, their attention became fully present. Now think about someone who secretly resents you. They smile, but only with their mouth. Their eyes remain cold, their arms stay crossed, they rarely face you directly. Their attention constantly drifts elsewhere. Their body is trying to leave the conversation long before they physically do. It's subtle, so subtle that most people ignore it. But patterns never lie. I once worked with someone who always greeted me politely. Every morning, "Good morning, how are you?" Everything sounded friendly. Yet something always felt off. Whenever we spoke, they avoided eye contact. If I shared an idea during meetings, they immediately looked down at their phone. When everyone laughed together, they rarely looked in my direction. If I approached a group conversation, they unconsciously stepped back. None of those moments meant much individually. Together, they painted a picture, not of hatred, but of discomfort. And discomfort has a way of exposing hidden emotions. Have you ever noticed how some people instantly become more energetic the moment someone else enters the room? They're laughing, engaged, animated. Then you join them, and suddenly the energy changes, the conversation slows, the enthusiasm disappears. Someone checks their watch. Another person looks at their phone. Within moments, everyone has somewhere else to be. You weren't imagining it. Energy shifts tell stories words never will. Epictetus believed we should train ourselves to notice reality, instead of clinging to comforting illusions. One of the greatest illusions people cling to is believing words over behavior. Maybe they're just tired. Maybe they're having a bad day. Of course that's possible. Everyone has bad days. But does every bad day somehow happen only when you're around? Again, look for patterns, not isolated moments. Here's another powerful signal. Watch what happens when someone else is speaking versus when you are. When another person shares a story, they're engaged. They nod, they smile, they ask questions. When you begin speaking, their attention fades, their eyes wander, they interrupt, they suddenly remember something urgent. It's as though your voice carries less weight in the room. That isn't always intentional, but repeated often enough, it tells you exactly how much they value your presence. Respect isn't always loud. Disrespect isn't always loud either. Sometimes it's communicated through absence. The absence of attention, the absence of curiosity, the absence of warmth. Body language often reveals emotional investment. People naturally move toward what they enjoy and away from what they don't. Notice who consistently positions themselves beside you. Notice who instinctively creates distance. Notice who lights up when they see you, and who merely tolerates your arrival. There was an experiment where researchers found that people unconsciously mirror those they like. They copy posture, tone of voice, facial expressions, even breathing rhythms. It's something we rarely notice, but once you do, you can't unsee it. Think about your closest friend. Without realizing it, you've probably mirrored each other countless times. Now compare that with someone who secretly dislikes you. There's no synchronization. No warmth, no effortless connection. Everything feels forced, as though every interaction requires effort. That's because genuine connection cannot be manufactured indefinitely. Eventually, the body tells the truth. Now, here's where many people make a mistake. They become obsessed with analyzing every gesture. Don't. One crossed arm means nothing. One missed smile means nothing. One distracted conversation means nothing. Stoicism teaches moderation. Observe without jumping to conclusions. Judge repeated behavior, not isolated incidents. Wisdom lives in consistency, not paranoia. Sometimes someone avoids eye contact because they're shy. Sometimes they're exhausted. Sometimes they're carrying burdens you'll never know about. Give people grace, but don't ignore repeated evidence simply because it's uncomfortable. The truth doesn't become false because we wish it were different. Here's another sign that's incredibly revealing. Watch how someone reacts when you're praised in front of them. Do they smile naturally, or does their expression tighten for just a fraction of a second? Do they clap enthusiastically, or remain strangely silent? Most people can control their words. Very few can control their first reaction. Jealousy is often visible before it's audible. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that another person's opinion could never diminish his character. Neither can their body language. If someone chooses to distance themselves from you, don't chase them, don't force warmth, don't beg for acceptance. The sun doesn't chase flowers, it simply shines. The flowers that are meant to bloom, bloom naturally. Your responsibility isn't to make everyone comfortable with your presence. Your responsibility is to become someone whose peace doesn't depend on someone else's approval. Because the strongest people in the room aren't the ones everyone likes. They're the ones who remain secure whether they're liked or not. Remember this: words can deceive, actions can be rehearsed, but consistent body language eventually reveals what someone's heart has been trying to hide all along. And then comes the sixth sign. This is where masks usually fall completely, because when life becomes difficult, pretending becomes too expensive. That's when you discover who was truly with you and who was only there while it was convenient. The sixth sign someone secretly dislikes you is that they disappear the moment you need them. Nothing reveals the strength of a relationship faster than adversity. Success attracts people. Comfort keeps them around. But hardship reveals who's genuine. It's easy to celebrate with someone when life is going well. Promotions, vacations, new opportunities. Everyone wants to be part of those moments. But when life falls apart, the room gets quieter. That's when you discover who was truly there. Seneca said that fire tests gold and adversity tests people. The same is true of relationships. Difficult times don't create loyalty, they reveal it. I learned this during one of the hardest seasons of my life. I wasn't asking anyone to solve my problems. I simply needed someone to listen. I reached out to people I trusted. Some answered. Many didn't. Messages went unread. Calls weren't returned. Promises became excuses. I've been so busy. We'll catch up soon. Soon never came. At first, I took it personally. But eventually, I realized something important. The people who truly cared didn't wait for the perfect moment. They simply showed up. Sometimes with advice, sometimes with encouragement, and sometimes with just one message saying, "I'm here if you need me." Those few words meant more than 100 empty promises. Marcus Aurelius believed that kindness is shown through action, not intention. Many people intend to support you. Very few actually do. That's the difference between affection and commitment. Some people enjoy your company when life is easy, but the moment supporting you becomes inconvenient, they disappear. Not because they necessarily hate you, but because the relationship was built on convenience, not loyalty. Sometimes people disappear because they don't know how to deal with someone else's pain. Rather than saying the wrong thing, they say nothing at all. While understandable, it still reveals the limits of the relationship. Epictetus taught us not to expect from people what they've never shown they're capable of giving. If someone has always been emotionally distant, don't expect unwavering support during your darkest moments. Believe their actions, not your hopes. There's another painful truth. Some people value you only as long as you're useful, as long as you're the strong one, the listener, the helper, the dependable one. But when you need support instead, their interest fades. Never confuse usefulness with love. Real friendship survives changing roles. Real loyalty doesn't disappear when life becomes difficult. Think about the people who have impacted your life the most. It probably wasn't because they gave the best advice. It was because they stayed. When everyone else left, they stayed. Presence is one of the greatest expressions of loyalty. Sometimes it looks as simple as a phone call, a visit, or a message saying, "I've been thinking about you." Those small acts become unforgettable during difficult seasons. Now, don't become cynical. Everyone gets busy. One missed call means nothing. The Stoic looks for patterns, not isolated moments. Repeated absence tells the truth. Notice who only returns after your life gets better. After you've recovered, after you're smiling again, after you're useful again. They avoided the storm but returned for the sunshine. That's not loyalty, that's convenience. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that life is too short to chase emotionally unavailable people. Some relationships naturally come to an end, and that's okay. Because every person who walks away creates room for someone who genuinely belongs. The beautiful thing about hardship is that it doesn't just expose fake people. It also reveals extraordinary ones. Sometimes the person who stands beside you isn't the friend you've known for 20 years. It's the quiet coworker, the neighbor, the acquaintance you underestimated. So instead of asking, "Why did they leave?" ask a better question. Who stayed? Those are the people worth protecting. Because loyalty isn't measured by who celebrates your victories. It's measured by who refuses to leave when life becomes difficult. They feel. The seventh and final sign someone secretly dislikes you is that they gossip about you behind your back. There is something deeply unsettling about discovering that a conversation you thought was private has somehow become public. You trusted someone. You lowered your guard. You believed your words were safe. Then one day, someone repeats something that only one person could have known. Your stomach drops, not because of what was said, but because of who said it. Betrayal rarely begins with an argument. It begins with a conversation you were never supposed to hear about. Marcus Aurelius warned himself to expect dishonesty from some people, not because he wanted to become suspicious of everyone, but because he understood that wisdom begins with seeing people as they truly are, not as we wish they were. And gossip reveals people faster than almost anything else. Think about it. When someone speaks kindly to your face but tears you down the moment you leave the room, they're living two completely different lives. One version exists when you're present. The other exists when you're absent. Only one of them is real. People who genuinely respect you don't need to defend your reputation only when you're listening. They protect your name even when you aren't there to thank them. That's character. Anyone can be loyal under your watchful eye. True loyalty is demonstrated when there's nothing to gain. Years ago, someone I trusted deeply came to me looking upset. "I think you deserve to know something," they said. Apparently, another friend had been making jokes about me for months. Not playful jokes, personal ones. They laughed about my failures, questioned my abilities, even mocked goals I had shared in confidence. What hurt wasn't the gossip itself. It was realizing that every smile I had received from that person had been rehearsed. Every compliment had been a performance. Every conversation had been built on a foundation that didn't actually exist. That experience changed me, not because it made me distrust everyone, but because it taught me to value consistency more than charisma. Some people speak beautifully, but live dishonestly. Others speak very little, yet protect you when it matters most. Always choose the second person. Seneca once wrote that the greatest remedy for anger is delay. That's important when dealing with gossip. Your first instinct may be revenge, to expose them, to embarrass them, to tell everyone what they've been saying. But ask yourself, what would that accomplish? If someone enjoys spreading poison, why would you drink it too? Stoicism teaches that another person's lack of integrity should never become an excuse to abandon your own. Respond with wisdom, not impulse. Here's something many people fail to understand. People who gossip are almost never discussing you because your life is boring. They're discussing you because your life occupies their thoughts. Jealousy creates conversation. Insecurity creates criticism. Comparison creates rumors. Confident people are usually too busy building their own lives to obsess over someone else's. Notice something interesting. The loudest critics are rarely the people accomplishing the most. The busiest builders don't have time to become professional spectators. When someone spends enormous amounts of energy talking about you behind your back, they're revealing exactly where their attention lives. And attention is life's most valuable currency. Don't mistake gossip for power. It's often evidence of powerlessness. Now let's be honest. Every one of us has probably participated in gossip at some point. We've shared stories we shouldn't have, repeated information that wasn't ours to repeat. The Stoic path isn't about pretending we've never failed. It's about becoming better once we recognize the failure. Ask yourself this. If someone trusted me with their vulnerability, would I protect it, or would I trade it for a few of attention? That's the question that separates trustworthy people from entertaining ones. One of the greatest compliments anyone can receive is this: "I knew if I told you, it would stay with you." That reputation isn't built overnight. It's built conversation by conversation, secret by secret, choice by choice. Now here's another truth that's difficult to hear. If someone constantly brings you gossip about other people, don't feel special. Feel warned. Because the person who enjoys delivering gossip today may very well become tomorrow's source when your name enters the conversation. People rarely change the direction of their character. They simply change the target. Watch how someone speaks about people who aren't present. That's exactly how they'll speak about you once you leave the room. Character has remarkable consistency. Epictetus reminded us that every event presents two handles, one by which it can be carried wisely, another by which it becomes unbearable. Gossip gives you that choice. You can become consumed trying to stop every rumor, or you can become the kind of person whose life eventually disproves every lie. One approach creates endless anxiety. The other creates lasting respect. Your reputation isn't determined by the loudest voice. It's determined by the weight of your character over time. People may believe rumors for a day. Some may believe them for a month. But eventually, truth develops a habit of introducing itself. Integrity always plays the long game. Here's what I've learned. The people who matter most don't ask, "What are people saying about you?" They ask, "Who have you consistently shown yourself to be?" That's the only question worth answering. So protect your peace, protect your character, protect your integrity. Not because everyone deserves it, because you do. And if you've recognized several of these signs today, don't become bitter. Become wiser. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people arrive to teach you discernment. Others arrive to teach you boundaries. And a rare few arrive to teach you what genuine friendship actually looks like. Marcus Aurelius believed that your greatest revenge is refusing to become like those who wronged you. Carry that with you. Don't answer deception with deception. Don't answer gossip with gossip. Don't answer disrespect with disrespect. Rise above it. Because the strongest person in any room is never the loudest. It's the one whose peace cannot be manipulated by someone else's opinion. Life is too short to chase approval from people who secretly hope you'll fail. Spend your energy on those who celebrate your victories without envy, correct you without humiliation, defend your name in your absence, and remain beside you when life becomes difficult. Those people are rare, but they exist. And once you find them, protect those relationships with everything you've got. Because one loyal friend is worth more than 100 fake supporters. If this message helped you see people, and perhaps even yourself, a little more clearly, remember that wisdom isn't about becoming suspicious of everyone. It's about becoming discerning. The more clearly you see people, the more peacefully you can choose who deserves a place in your life. And in the end, that's one of the greatest forms of freedom the Stoics ever taught.